really important initiatives to help reduce the prevalence of individuals with mental illness that are in our criminal justice system, and to promote further collaborations between organizations in both the criminal justice and mental health systems. After brief presentations by our speakers today, Danica Binkley and Nikisha Love-Weaver from the Bureau of Justice Assistance, or BJA, and Jerry Murphy and myself, Cynthia Kimmelman-DeVries from the Council of State Governments Justice Center, there will be time for a question and answer session. To ask a question, please type the question into the Q&A panel on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. We will do our best to answer your questions. If your question does not get answered during the webinar, please follow up via email after the event has ended. At the end of the presentation, we will provide email addresses for everyone speaking today. If you encounter technical or audio problems during this webinar, hopefully we're done with those, please call WebEx Technical Support at 1-866-229-3239. Again, that's 1-866-229-3239. Please understand that there are some technical issues you may not be able to resolve. For this reason, we are recording this event today, and we will be emailing the recording to all of the attendees, as well as posting it on our website later this week. Starting off the webinar today will be a welcome by Bureau of Justice Assistance staff, information about the current round of grantees, as well as discussion on the budget process. Following this will be a short presentation by the Council of State Government staff on technical assistance and what we do, and then we will conclude with time for Q&A of both BJA and CSG Justice staff. I'll now turn things over to Danica from the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Thanks, Cynthia. As Cynthia stated, my name is Danica Binkley from the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and I just want to start my remarks today by acknowledging all of you. You've succeeded in securing grant funding in an incredibly competitive year. You represent the top 13% of applicants in 2013. Your applications were screened for basic minimum requirements, were reviewed, rated, and scored by panels of external peer reviewers, and after an internal review by BJA staff, you were recommended to the Assistant Attorney General for funding. Out of 244 applications, we were only able to fund 32. We are actually not going to compete for the Justice and Mental Health Collaboration Program again this year in fiscal year 2014, as we had to leave so many competitive applications on the table. We didn't want to, again, unnecessarily raise expectations. Therefore, we will not be releasing the JMHCP solicitation in FY 2014, and instead we'll be making selections from the unfunded applicants. What you have in common with each other and with so many other jurisdictions across the country is that something is not working within your system, or something could be working much more effectively with regard to people with mental illness. In total, as I stated, we received 244 applications in fiscal year 2013, and we're only able to make 32 awards representing 22 states, 5 of which are in the planning category, 16 in the planning and implementation category, and 11 in the expansion category. Of those, that includes 6 mental health court or diversion programs, 9 juvenile grantees, 10 co-occurring or reentry grantees, and 6 law enforcement-focused programs. We also have 3 specific tribal grantees and 7 grantees specializing in gender issues, 3 of the 7 also implementing specialized trauma programs. So congratulations first and foremost. It was a tremendous hurdle to get to this point, and you all deserve to be patted on the back for your success. That said, I want to outline some expectations that we have of you. Because this program was so competitive and because you are among the elite few who are selected, I want to lay out some very specific expectations. We expect that you will serve the number of people you propose within your application, that you will actively take measures to get the right people in the right programs, that you will use risk and needs assessment instruments to accomplish this, that you will incorporate evidence-based treatment practices and interventions into your work with people with mental illness within the justice system, that you will seek help when help is needed and communicate regularly with your technical assistance coaches and folks from BJA, whether your program manager or myself, your policy advisor. You can expect that we will support you and hold you to the high bar you set for yourselves and your staff and teams back home in serving this underserved population. that both the program staff and policy staff will be responsive to your inquiries as they arise, be it about allowable uses of funds, changes in key staff, requesting no-cost extensions, etc. That we will provide quality technical assistance through the Council of State Governments Justice Center. And just a few words on the Council of State Governments Justice Center. Obviously, you'll be hearing more from them at the end of this presentation, but they really catapulted the need to better address the needs of people with mental illness in the justice system through their landmark consensus project in 2005. The Justice Center is a technical assistance provider for JMHCP grantees. Each of you will have a TA coach assigned to you by the Justice Center, and we expect them to call you, email you, and challenge and support you. Again, you'll be hearing more about that shortly. The bottom line here of what we are trying to achieve is better outcomes for people with mental illness in our systems. Specifically, we're looking for reduced recidivism rates, fewer jail bed days, and improved functional outcomes such as housing and employment attainment and retainment of fewer hospitalizations. We revised our performance measures so that we are asking you for data in ways that can best capture this information, again, so that we can communicate to stakeholders about what this program is buying and what this program is accomplishing. We also look at performance data to make program improvements along the way. So, now that I've gotten through expectations from you and from us, I want to tell you a little bit about the Bureau of Justice Assistance and the Office of Justice Program. As I stated, I'm a policy advisor here in the policy office for substance abuse and mental health at the Bureau of Justice Assistance. I oversee a number of programs pertaining to the intersection of substance abuse and mental health within the criminal justice system, including the JMHCP program, in addition to two of the Second Chance Act programs, and more recently BJA's efforts to assist our criminal justice partners in the implementation of the Affordable Care Act, which, as you know, will allow for greater access to substance abuse and mental health services, especially for those reentering their communities from prisons and jails under expanded Medicaid eligibility. We're a small staff dedicated to translating best and promising practices into quality policies and programs for the criminal justice field. Also within BJA is the Programs Office. You'll be hearing from them shortly. But first, I just want to also point you to our website, www.bja.gov. It contains a lot of information about the Justice and Mental Health program, as well as other contact information and other programs within BJA, including other funding opportunities. Please feel free to refer to our website at any time for links to this information and more. But back to the Programs Office. The Programs Office manages the individual awards that each of you have received, and as such, you've been assigned a grant manager, either Nikisha Love Weaver or Veronica Munson. Nikisha and Veronica will be your contacts within BJA who can answer all your questions pertaining to grant issues, including allowable costs, management of the award, and reporting. We work closely together to ensure that all the JMHCP grantees remain on track with their awards. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Nikisha, who will talk about budget approval process, accepting your award, financial clearances, and other grant management issues. Thanks so much. Over to you, Nikisha.
Thank you, Danica. Good afternoon, and I wanted to say congratulations to all of you who have received the Justice and Mental Health Collaboration Program grant for the fiscal year of 2013. And as Danica stated, my name is Nikisha Love Weaver. I am your state policy advisor for the Justice and Mental Health Program. Along with myself is Veronica Munson. I've reached out to majority of the grantees, so has Veronica, in reference to your budget approvals. Budget approvals depend on information that we send to you that has been reviewed by OCFO for you to submit your revised budget. In order for you to draw down your funds, you will need to submit those revised budgets to us. If you have already received budget approval and cannot access your funds, there could be special conditions of withholding for you to receive your funds. So it's very important that you read your grant documents, especially the special conditions, to see if you have any pending special conditions withholding for you to draw down your funds. Any information pertained as far as your contact information, we ask that that continuously stays updated, because as we know that sometimes when you submit your application personnel changes, and contact information changes. And we ask that you go into GMS and submit and update your contact information so that when we respond to certain correspondences, it comes through GMS, and if you're not getting those correspondences, that means that the information that's in GMS has not been updated. As far as, like I was speaking of your special conditions, it's very, very important that, you maintain, you submit your reports, because reports, if they're delinquent, that will withhold you from drawing down any funding. As of today, everyone should have accepted their awards. I've reached out to a few of you who have not accepted your awards, and if you plan on accepting the awards, we ask that you please get them in no later than next week this time for the acceptance. We still have at least 19 applications pending budget approvals. Again, like I said, I've reached out to you all and getting that information back along with Veronica also, and OCFO is still doing some of their reviews to get your budget approved. Again, if you have any questions regarding this, you may contact me or Veronica in reference to any questions related to your grant. If you're new starting out and you just want a little bit more information to get familiarized with us, please give us a call. We're always here to help you. Along with myself, we have our supervisor here, Ms. Nadine Fulton-Jones. She's here with us. So again, I would like to say thank you and congratulations.
Thank you so much, Nikita. I'm now going to turn things over to Jerry Murphy, who's here with the Council of State Governments Justice Center.
So good afternoon, everyone, or good morning if you're on the West Coast. Again, let me offer congratulations from the Justice Center on your award, and we look forward to working with you over the course of your grant. Again, the Justice Center is the TA provider, and we'll be working with you specifically to help you implement your grant program. So what I want to do is just take a couple of minutes to tell you a little bit about the Justice Center and a little bit of history and how we operate. So the Justice Center is part of the Council of State Governments, which is the nation's only organization serving all three branches of state government, that is the executive, legislative, and judicial branches. Since 1933, the CSG has helped foster the exchange of insights and ideas to help state officials shape public policy on a variety of issues. The CSG Justice Center works with policymakers at the state, local, and federal levels to improve criminal justice and juvenile justice systems. The Justice Center provides practical, nonpartisan advice and consensus-driven strategies that are informed by available evidence. And this is to increase public safety and strengthen communities. There are three major projects in the Justice Center that you may have heard of. One of them is the Criminal Justice and Mental Health Program, and that is the program that we are talking about today. And this grew out of the Consensus Project, which started in 2002. The Consensus Project has now morphed into what we now call the Justice and Mental Health Collaboration Program. And that program provides support to grantees around the country by providing technical assistance, disseminating information about similar programs, providing information about research, as well as policy developments in the field. Our other program that you may have heard of is called the Reentry Program, or the National Reentry Resource Center. The National Reentry Resource Center provides education, training, and technical assistance to states, tribes, territories, local governments, and other service providers, including correctional institutions and nonprofits that are working on the issues of prisoner reentry. Very similar to the Criminal Justice Mental Health Program, the NRRC, or the National Reentry Resource Center, works with grantees around the country to help them implement their grant programs. The third program that we operate, and which you may have heard about, is called the Justice Reinvestment. And Justice Reinvestment provides intensive technical assistance to several states around the country to help them reduce corrections spending and then reinvest that savings in strategies that can decrease crime and strengthen neighborhoods. These are just a quick overview of the three major programs that we provide grantees around the country. I know we're providing you with a lot of information today, and some of it is probably confusing, but as we get further into today's presentation, hopefully we will be able to clarify the various roles of BJA and the CSG Justice Center. Again, we look forward to working with you over the course of your grant, and if you are interested in learning more about the Justice Center, you can visit our website at csgjusticecenter.org. So at this point, I'd like to turn it back over to Cynthia, who will talk more about the Technical Assistance Program.
Thanks so much, Jerry. Hi, everybody. My name is Cynthia Kimmelman-DeVries, and I'm here representing a team of technical assistance coordinators who work under David DeMora and Jerry in the Justice Center's Criminal Justice Mental Health Collaboration Project. We're here to provide you assistance over the course of your grant under the JMHCP program. Technical assistance means different things to different people. So the main goal of today is for you to leave this webinar with a sense of the types of things the Justice Center staff can help you with and the resources we have to draw upon. Over the course of the next year, our primary function is to help you achieve the goals you listed in your grant applications and that BJA funded you to do. On your screen now are a few of the examples of what your technical assistance coordinator can do for you or reasons to contact us. We can help you support your team's efforts through on- and off-site technical assistance. Off-site technical assistance is a set of regular phone calls, check-ins, and emails that we will have with you and your key stakeholders or partners, usually, for example, on a monthly basis. For on-site technical assistance, we have resources to conduct a limited number of site visits to those grantees that have a situation that would benefit from an in-person consultation by Justice Center staff and a content expert. Another thing that we do is connect you with resources such as research findings and practical tools, and experts such as researchers and practitioners who can help you resolve challenges you face in meeting your goals. Through the multiple technical assistance programs we manage, we're also able to connect you to individuals and programs that are in your shoes right now. We're implementing programs similar to yours. Through the technical assistance we've provided to JMHCP since its inception in 2002, we've reached over 250 programs. Through meetings, online at our website, small learning communities, and webinars, and through our criminal justice map that's posted on our website, we're able to link you to programs that are implementing practices similar to your own. Shortly, you'll be able to sort the criminal justice map by type of grantee, program, category, etc. In addition to our technical assistance, we also have a monthly newsletter, which is a compendium of information on important topics on criminal justice and mental health collaborations in the field. It includes upcoming funding opportunities, webinar announcements, profiles of current and past JMHCP programs and grantees and their milestones, important research, as well as links to a number of articles on criminal justice and mental health that appear in national newspapers and magazines around the country. You can sign up for the newsletter from any page on the Justice Center website in the upper right-hand corner. And you don't have to wait for the monthly newsletter to come out to stay abreast of current information. If you navigate to the In the News link on the center of our page, you'll receive real-time updates of the content that is compiled daily and weekly and that contributes to our monthly newsletter. The Technical Assistance Coordinator and the Justice Center will hopefully keep you from reinventing the wheel and make sure that if someone out there is doing something similar, you know about it and can benefit from their experience. If there is research that is relevant to your program, we'll connect you to it. And if there's an expert that can help you troubleshoot a problem that you're facing and help you achieve your goals, we want you to have access to them. We're also here to make sure that you're not alone in the process of achieving your grant goals. Your programs are spread around the country, and sometimes even your team members are located in different geographic areas. We're here to make sure that you know that there are others that are doing similar things as you, and make sure that you are in touch with them. With these things in mind, I'm now going to talk a little bit about what your technical assistance includes. So first, there are some things that everyone gets. Everyone will be invited to a JMHCP grantee orientation tentatively this coming May in Washington, D.C. It's scheduled for the middle of May, but the exact dates are known not just yet, So we're hoping to get that information out to everyone in the next couple of months. The process is still being negotiated and approved, and as soon as we have everything secured, we'll send out the exact dates and locations to everyone. This is an excellent and important event. Experts from the field will be presenting. There will be work sessions conducted by Justice Center staff as well as national speakers. You'll have the opportunity to meet with your technical assistance coordinator in person and network with your peers from around the country. Second, your TA coordinator will be helping you work on a planning and implementation guide, or a P&I guide, which you will be receiving in the next coming weeks. This is a structured process to help you think through some frequently asked questions and frequently encountered situations and challenges in implementing justice and mental health collaboration programs. In the next few weeks, we'll be hosting another webinar to orient you to the process, and your TA coordinator will be setting up a future phone call with you and your team members to specifically go over this guide. It is not necessary to start completing the guide until you receive more specific direction from your TA coordinator. The P&I guide is a requirement for Category 2, Planning and Implementation Grantees, but we do ask that all grantees complete it. For those grantees that have already been a recipient of a JMHCP grant in the past, you will notice this year that the P&I guide will look very, very different from years past. We'll be working very closely with you to complete it over the course of your program. Thirdly, in addition to all of the resources I've already mentioned, the Justice Center website has a vast library of written research documents, practitioner guides, as well as distance learning opportunities. All of these documents are free and downloadable from our website. We have a suite of publications on mental health courts, law enforcement, probation initiatives, and our recently released report on prioritizing scarce resources for adults being supervised in community correction settings, as well as our very popular Breaking School Rules publication on the school-to-prison pipeline. This was an unprecedented statewide study of nearly 1 million Texas public secondary school students and followed for at least 6 years. We also conduct a series of webinars over the course of the year, one happening approximately every month on topics that have been requested by JMHCP grantees. There's also an archive of previously conducted webinars on a variety of topics that can be found on our website under the Technical Assistance heading and can be viewed at any time. Recent webinars include screening and assessment, data collection, measuring program performance, developing clinical interventions, trauma services, and gender issues in the criminal justice and mental health systems. In addition to those that are done monthly by the Mental Health Program, the National Reentry Resource Center also conducts a monthly webinar series on similar topics, all of which can be viewed through the page on your screen. So those are the things that all grantees get. But individually, you will also have a customized technical assistance plan. You've already been assigned a technical assistance coordinator from the Justice Center who will be familiar with you and your team and the grant goals you have outlined. You will work with this coordinator over the course of the year to identify relevant resources, troubleshoot questions that are coming up as you're working with your grant, and make connections with other programs around the country. You and your TA coordinator will work on a TA plan, when it makes sense for you to be checking in, and how they can be helpful. You'll also work with your coordinator to identify whether or not your program is appropriate for one of our site visits. In addition to the Planning and Implementation Guide, we'll be sending you a TA worksheet. It's a short 2-page description of what technical assistance includes and also has a section where you can request specific types of technical assistance. So if you already know that there's something you'd like more information about or contact with an expert about, it's an excellent way to address that and give your TA coordinator a heads up about it. And lastly, for your reference, this is an example of what the main mental health website looks like on our Justice Center website with the link to the address at the top of your screen. I urge you to take a look at it, sign up for the newsletter, both for mental health and for reentry, and explore the vast number of resources it contains for you to get information. I hope that this has been helpful in giving you examples of what TA looks like from the Justice Center and some specific examples of what types of things we do. At the end of the presentation, we will be displaying all of our contact information. Please feel free to email the appropriate person for additional information, either the BJA staff for more fiscal and grant-related management issues, or either myself, Jerry Murphy, or David Demora, as it pertains to technical assistance issues, and we can always help you figure out who you should direct your questions to. As a reminder, we'll be emailing out these slides later this week or early next week, as well as posting a link to the recording on our webinar page in archived form. So this ends the formal part of our presentation and begins the Q&A section. Let me just catch up with our questions. Hold on one second. Okay. In order to type in a question, in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen is a Q&A box. You may have to expand the little triangle so that you can see where to type. And we've already gotten a few questions. I will be moderating the questions as they're coming in from the audience, and we'll do our best to answer as many of the questions as possible in the time remaining. Again, if we run out of time, please do email one of us using the information provided on the last screen. So give me 1 second. Okay, this first question I believe is directed more towards Nikisha. And it says that they're wondering when we might expect our grant award documents. We've only received an email and are still awaiting official documentation.
What? Okay. Have they already accepted the award?
So can we do, I'm not sure, it's hard, I can't tell exactly who asked that question, so can we do both the scenarios, so if they accepted the award and then if they didn't?
Okay, because the email is the actual official, letting them know that they have received the award and that they will have to access GMS to get the full document and download them. Oh, so it's not accessible? Okay. So, Cynthia. Are you still? Okay. And it's not accessible until they have selected who their financial point of contact is going to be and they have put all of that information into GMS.
So, we're reaching out to the grantee just to double check and make sure that this is answering that question. Because unfortunately I don't have specifics, but let's see if we get a response.
Okay, and I will say if it becomes too overwhelming, if you can just ask the grantee to give me a call.
Absolutely. Okay, the next question, I think that I knew the answer to. Let me know, Nikisha and Danica, if this is incorrect. If our budget was already approved, can we begin hiring personnel, or do we need to wait until our planning and implementation guide is approved by BJA? So I'm going to say no. You don't need to wait until your P&I guide is approved by BJA. The P&I guide is going to be a series of back and forth questions, sort of some free response stuff and discussions that you're going to be having with the Justice Center. That's us, your technical assistance provider. Over the course of your entire grant, there will be a point where we do have it in somewhat of a finalized format where we send it to BJA and we work all together to have it be formally approved. But that is not in any way to stop you from starting all of the major implementation operations of your grant, including hiring. How'd I do, Nikisha?
Good.
Excellent. Okay. So this is a more general question, and I think it might need some follow-up questions. But this person has said we have not received a notice that their budget has been approved, and if they would get a notice soon. So that feels very general, and I'm thinking that maybe we should have that person reach out to you?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. Let's see. Okay, so we should probably review this just really quickly one more time. Danica, this is about the new RFP. Did I understand correctly that you will not release an RFP in the spring of 2014 and instead will identify new grantees from existing applicants? That's correct.
That's correct, yes.
And does that apply to those of us in Phase 1 who are planning to apply for Phase 2 funding, planning, and implementation?
It applies to everyone. So you will not be eligible as a 2013 grantee to receive funds in 2014 until we release the solicitation in 2015.
So that also would apply for example, a planning and implementation grantee who would like to apply for expansion. It's the same kind of scenario as the one that was just asked. So you would have to wait for planning
to do so, yes.
Yep. Okay, this is another, it feels like a little bit general question, but when may we begin drawing down funds?
If the budget has been approved, they can start drawing down funds. Okay. And they don't have any pending special conditions.
Okay. And what you're going to hear all of us say over and over again, if you have any confusion about any of that or you have follow-up questions to any of these answers, this is the time that, unfortunately, Nikisha and Veronica are going to be fielding lots and lots of these questions, and we encourage you to reach out to them to ask any of these.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, this is a good question. We've seen some outcome items that we'll need. Is there more information on the website on all specific outcome items that we'll need to collect, or should we just assume that what we've received are the finalized outcomes we'll need to collect? So I actually need some help with this. Danica, I think this is your purview. I think the person might be referring to some of the quarterly and semi-annual reports in terms of the PMT measures. So I'm not sure of the process by which grantees receive those information in advance, if they do, and or if there is another orientation around that that's held by CSR.
I'm actually going to ask my program staff about that. I'm not sure. I know when they receive access to the PMT.
Some of the measurements that they are referring to was listed in the solicitation.
Right, some are.
And the other ones are just listed in the PMT, and they're not required to submit reports yet, right?
No, but they will have to go in. They have to go to the PMT website to register, to get a username, user ID, and a password.
Correct.
Okay, so that seems like I've gotten a couple of questions about that. If they can get access to specific program metrics that they'll need to report on. So is the process that they need to log on to the PMT website and they'll be able to look at the information there?
Yes.
Yeah. So what I've done is they can contact us, and each one of us individually to get some additional information about that. I've sent some of the grantees contacted PMT directly to set up what you call individual training for those grantees who sought it out. And I can make the connection for them so that they can receive some individual training on what is required, what is going to be required of them to report into the PMT. And they're very helpful at the help desk, and they will walk them through it. So just tell them to give me a call. I have the user's information guide and everything, and I will make the connection for them so that they can get some assistance.
Terrific. And actually, I'm going to forward to the next screen right here, which is all of the contact information for everybody that's talking today. I'm going to add an additional slide before we send this out to everybody with the address for PMT and their help desk and their telephone number as well. I think that will be helpful for everybody. I know Nikisha and I think Veronica as well, you both have that in your email address signature. They are very, very helpful. Grantees have found talking to them is really terrific. They're very responsive with emails. So you'll be able to go to that website and be able to register. And then if you have any problems, you can reach out to them directly. And if that doesn't help you, you can always reach out to either me, Cynthia, or to Nikisha and Veronica, respectively. Okay. Next question. I've gotten another couple questions about the RFP, but I think that we've probably exhausted that topic. So no, there's not going to be a new release, and awardees will be selected from unfunded past applications. Okay. I think, Nikisha, this is for you guys. Our grant requires budget approval and clearance of a special condition prior to obligation of funds. How long should we expect to wait for the GAN removing that special condition?
I would need to know what special condition is withholding them from drawing down their funds, because it will have to be something that they need to submit to either me or Veronica so that we can go ahead and do the GAN to have the funds released.
Okay. And I know this is always a question that I get, so let me follow up. This might be what this is getting at. But after they reply back to the special condition and send you the information you need, approximately how long does it take for them to receive something back? Roughly?
Okay. Well, it would depend on OCFO's review. If it's a budget that's pending, then it would be up to the grantee to get the information back as critical as OCFO would like them to make sure they do everything detailed. So when it comes back, we don't have to keep going back and forth, because that process can take a long time if the grantee makes changes from the first revisions and then they go back in and do another one. So it depends. So I really can't roughly say how long it will take. It depends on the grantee and the review of OCFO.
Okay. I have a question regarding that, actually. That's come to me frequently. Is it helpful for grantees to reach out to you for guidance before they actually submit something in CMS to make sure that when it goes to OCFO it's all correct and doesn't slow down the process?
Yes, they can do that. They can send the documents to myself or Veronica, and we can view them to make sure everything is good, to have them.
Are you talking
That's
about
only if they're doing a GAN.
Correct. If they're doing a GAN for it, correct.
Okay, so we're speaking in reference to a GAN. If it's in reference to a GAN, yes, the grantee can send us the budget information so that we can look over it before they actually go in and do a GAN.
Perfect. Okay. This is a little bit more specific, I think. Some of the costs anticipated in our proposal budget have changed. For example, it will be optimal to have staff training on 2 days rather than 1. Is this permissible? Is there a process for requesting thresholds, etc. in grant docs? This is actually feeling like a really good TA question, actually. Was that a yes? Was that laughing? Was that a yes?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. That is a perfect type of thing that you would go over with your technical assistance coordinator, actually. So one of the things that we can help you with is determining if you have the right training capacity, if you have the right staffing, how many people you want to be training, when that's going to happen, and so on and so forth. And I think it's perfectly acceptable that when you figure out that you have a really expert trainer who has a topic that they deliver in half a day rather than in 3/4 of a day, those are things that, clearly make sense. Sometimes you hire staff members to start on your project that have a lot of training and background or expertise that you didn't ordinarily know that they would have when you hire them, which changes the type of training. So that's the kind of thing that we would like to talk to you about from a technical assistance perspective before you have to go through the whole process of putting in a budget amendment. Hi, everybody. Just one little bit of a housekeeping thing. It's hard for us to keep track of the questions if you're doing them through the chat box. So please make sure that if you want to send us a question, so please use the bottom portion of the screen where it says the little question mark and Q&A, and that will come directly to us. Okay. So if you sent one through the chat box, if you can please retype it through the Q&A box, that would be very helpful. Okay, in our project timeline, the P&I guide is listed as due, must be submitted at the end of the first 6 months of the project. Does that timeline start from the start of the drawdown of funds? So, Danica and Nikisha, I'm going to take a stab at answering this. Can you let me know if I do an okay job at this?
Sure.
Okay, so the P&I guide process is changing a little bit this year. And there's going to be kind of a series of modules in the P&I guide that we're going to ask you to complete based on where you are in the implementation process. It's going to be a series of some free answer form questions in addition to some checklists. And some of them are going to have to do with things like sustainability and the long-term future of your grant, which are not going to be really applicable for you to complete in the first 6 months of your project. And then there are going to be other portions that make a lot of sense for you to complete early on in terms of who's on your collaboration, and what are you doing in terms of meetings, and do you have a mission and vision. So there's going to be a portion of that we're going to do within that first 6 months, but it's kind of a living, breathing process, and we're going to work together to submit something specifically to BJA, but a lot of that works on the technical assistance side, and BJA receives everything from us and works with us and makes sure that we feel comfortable with where you guys are, and then goes ahead and approves it. It does not impact the drawdown of your funds, however, so that 6 months, I want to say, is a little bit fluid, depending on when your budget was approved and where things are and get up and going with your program.
I would just add that to echo what you said, it's not a hard and fast deadline clock that starts ticking the second you draw down. It's a goal. It's something that we generally aim for. It's a time frame, but obviously we need to be flexible and fluid with that goal, with that 6 months. So people shouldn't feel under the gun, or that, they're under a hard and fast deadline. Obviously, we anticipate there's a lot of other factors at work, and everybody's in a different place. So, we certainly will work with you wherever you are.
Okay, perfect. And, different jurisdictions experience different things. Sometimes you have issues with hiring, or sometimes you have different fiscal things that are happening or climate within your community that impacts your project getting up and running immediately. And we anticipate that and work with you, and really don't want this to be very or additionally stressful add on top of what you guys are doing. Okay, in what document will we find the data collection requirements? You can find those in a couple of places. In the original solicitation online at the JMHCP website, which is on BJA's website, you'll see some of the requirements for data collection in the original solicitation. And then the PMT website that we mentioned a little while ago will give you the specific data collection requirements that you have to do quarterly and semi-annually. Let's see. Will you include a slide identifying the additional expectations that were not documented on any slide? The P&I guide specific expectations identified by Danica. I'm not going to include another slide about the P&I guide because we are going to be doing a whole other webinar about it, and you will be receiving it from your technical assistance coordinator when they reach out to you in the next coming weeks. We are finalizing a few pieces on it, which is why you haven't gotten it just yet. As far as the specific expectations identified by Danica, that was part of your presentation. So
that was in the solicitation as well. So this shouldn't be brand new information. What I was referring to is in the solicitation that they used to apply. So, yeah. Okay.
If there's any further questions about that, please feel free to contact us as well. Okay, this is a GMS question. And Nikita, I can't see GMS, so I know that I've gotten this question many times in the past, so it might be helpful for just like maybe a specific screen walkthrough, but I also know that there's some training around this. Where is it listed in GMS if the budget has been approved?
It'll be located under the award, where it is the award module, and it'll say final budget.
Okay. I will include in the presentation, not sure yet in which part of the presentation, but when it goes out, we'll make a little asterisk to it. On our website, on the Justice Center website, in the initial email that you all received from David Zamora, there are 2 links on frequently asked questions about JMHCP and some general JMHCP resources. In the frequently asked questions, there are some grant management questions that are listed there. And on BJA's website, there is training on GMS that gives you a tour of where everything is. I think it's very, very helpful for the folks that are the actual people entering things in GMS to go through that training so that you can get a little bit of an idea of what the environment looks like. I think that will be very helpful. So in the original email that you received from David Demora, there's a link to that page, but I will also add that either to the contact page where we put the PMT information or somewhere in the slide presentation when it goes out. I'll add that as well. So you can see the different resources that are on the BJA website to orient you guys to GMS. And then at that point, I know some people have different levels of technical savviness. And if you have questions, feel free to reach out to one of us, and we can always walk you through where those things live. I think we're almost towards the end of our questions. It looks like I'm at my last one, and this is a great question. When will the TA coordinators be contacting the grantees? Approximately next week. I am actually assigned to a good portion of the folks that are here, so if you're a juvenile grantee, you'll probably hear from me. And there are a couple of other TA coordinators that you'll be hearing from sometime next week or earlier the week after, who will be setting up some time to schedule calls with you guys for mid-December or early January. Okay, I think we have gotten through the rest of our... Yep.
I wanted to add another response to the question in reference to when they wanted to know about the approval of their budget in GMS?
Absolutely.
Okay. Usually what happens is when they send us the revised budgets and we send them to OCFO and they're approved, if the contact information is correct in GMS will automatically send them an email letting them know that the budget has been approved.
Excellent. That's actually a good segue into contact information.
Okay. And also I wanted to state that although, some people are having issues with their budgets being approved in a timely manner, they are still responsible for submitting the report. Because once they submit the budget information and the FSRs have not been submitted, that would also push a withholding for them to draw down their funds.
Okay.
This is Nadine. They would have to submit. This is Nadine. They will have to submit the SFR and indicate that there are no expenditures. But the system only recognizes that once you've accepted the award, that you are required to submit a financial status report. If you haven't had any expenditures and can't draw down, then just submit the report indicating no expenditures. And may I add that, Cynthia?
Yep.
I also want to add that there may be some participants on the phone that are project directors that are not necessarily managing the grant, so they're not privy to a lot of the information. So that's probably where some of those questions are coming from. So they should get in contact with the point of contact. That's who we deal with in dealing with the finalizing budgets or budget information, award acceptance, and that sort of thing. And special conditions or any of that. The project directors aren't privy to that information, the point of contact and the authorized representatives are. So I'm kind of feeling like some of these participants are project directors who are actually going to be carrying out the activities of the grant. So they aren't privy to some of the information. So that's probably why you get to some of those questions.
That makes perfect sense. And actually, I would encourage some folks, when we receive the contact information from you guys, it's the authorized representative and the point of contact for your grant. And I do know that some of those people are not going to be the people that are on the ground managing things from a day-to-day perspective, or even potentially submitting things in GMS. I would strongly encourage you to go into GMS and make sure that those authorized representatives and points of contact are correct. We know from previous experience and actually looking at the list of grantees this year that we have had working experience with, that the emails we've sent out introducing this webinar and other things that may have come from GMS probably are not being read because they are the highest level director of your program. So you can submit a GAN form to change your point of contact or add an alternate point of contact. So I would strongly encourage, if you have not received any email correspondence to GMS or from BJA, that you reach out and make sure that the people that are in GMS are correct. I'm just going to wait another couple of seconds to see if there are any additional questions that anybody has.
And Cynthia, I would just add to what you said, and not only that the points of contact are correct, but that you're communicating with your points of contact. Because the point of contact is the one who's receiving those emails from GMS, it's important that you know who that is and that you're in communication with that person so that if they get an email from GMS, they know who to share that information with.
Correct. And your project frequently will hire new people over the course of the grant, and you might have new coordinators who are running things day to day that know how to know what to put into your reports. It's very important that you all talk to one another. And if you're not sure of who the authorized representatives and points of contact are, we can help you with figuring out who those people are as well. Okie doke. I'm going to be adding a little bit more additional information to the slide presentation for everybody. And we will be posting a recording of the webinar next week to our website, and we'll be sending out the slides to everyone as well with all of our contact information. Just to reiterate, your TA coordinator will be contacting you next week, approximately. There's a lot of grantees to get through to be setting up specific technical assistance phone calls in terms of dates for sometime in December or early January. And if you have anything else specific in relation to fiscal issues or grant issues that seem to be more under the VJA purview, please feel free to contact either Danica, Veronica, or Nikisha. And again, if you're unsure who to contact, you can always contact me or Jerry as well, and we'll help direct you to the right person to contact. Oh wait, I have one more question. Hold on. Is there any prohibition on services with these funds being used for persons who might be undocumented? I'm assuming they mean as a participant in the program.
Yeah, I don't, not to my knowledge. No, I don't think there's any restriction on that.
Okay. I think that had actually, Danica, that had actually come up, I think, for a grantee with me. We had talked about recently as well. Okay. Yep, and that was the same answer in case you wanted to know. Okie doke. If there are any other questions that you guys have and we haven't gotten to them, please do feel free to email us. You can go ahead and email them to me if you're not sure who it goes to, and we'll make sure to get you the right answer. And if there's anything that was specific that we discussed that you didn't get the right answer for, you feel like you still have additional questions, we always encourage you to reach out to us. And like I said, everything will be uploaded onto our website next week. So thank you very much, everybody. And once again, a hearty congratulations. This, as Danica had mentioned, is a highly competitive grant program. So this concludes the Justice and Mental Health Collaboration Program 2013 Technical Assistance Orientation Webinar. I thank you all for your attendance and participation. And thank you to our presenters, Danica and Nikisha and Jerry. We're very much looking forward to working with all of you. As you exit this webinar, a short survey will automatically appear to ask about your experience on the webinar. We're required to report on participant responses to this sort of programming, and very much appreciate you taking a couple of seconds to complete the questions that will appear. We'll be emailing a recording of the presentation after the event, and the recording will be available online in a few days on our website, csgjusticecenter.org. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.